Hello and welcome to Three Kitchens, a home cooking podcast. I'm Erin Walker, here with my two co-hosts, Sarah Somasundaram.
Hi.
Hello, and Heather Dyer.
Hi.
How's everyone doing this morning?
Good, thanks.
Pretty
Spring
good.
break.
Yeah,
Yes.
spring break week. It's kind of nice.
We're at the hump day of spring week now. It's
Yes.
Wednesday. We're halfway
Wednesday.
through.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I love it because I sleep in, but my two co-hosts do not know how to.
I
Or
would
don't have
like
the
to.
opportunity to.
It just sounds like a marvelous idea.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to happen all
No.
that
Right.
much. Yeah. You guys, I was going to give you a little tip. I don't know. I've maybe talked about this before, but I have one kid who won't eat pancakes, which is just, I mean, who doesn't eat pancakes?
That's kind of a weird one.
He doesn't like pancakes or
Mm.
waffles. So I figured out, I think it's a texture thing, because if I take that same pancake batter and
Okay.
pour it into mini muffin tins, bake it in the oven for like 8 or 10 minutes or whatever it takes for these, it doesn't take long, pop them out, dip them in melted butter and then cinnamon sugar.
Oh, yes.
And then we call them Timbits. And he thinks they are homemade donut holes. And then he'll eat them.
You are the master. That is incredible, Heather.
Yeah.
And it's
Sounds good.
just as quick as making pancakes, because I make them sometimes for them on weekdays, because it's like 8 minutes or 10 minutes in the oven, and then I pop them out and dip them and off he goes. And I just want to say, it's the same
Don't do it.
I won't, but it's so stupid that he won't eat a pancake, but he'll eat the exact same thing.
Don't you feel like a genius when you can pull one over on them? It feels
Totally.
so good when you're like, yeah. For the longest time, I had my oldest son. He wouldn't eat hummus made with chickpeas.
That's
But-
so funny.
right.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna bring up that story about Erin's kids.
But he would eat hummus made from garbanzo beans.
That's the best. That's even better.
That was so much fun. I was like, oh man, I love with you. If you have little kids and you're not lying to them, you're not doing it right.
Especially the picky eaters, to get them to eat. I mean, this is like, I mean, at the end of the day, who cares that he won't eat pancakes? That's not being too picky, but it's just silly. And it makes it difficult if that's what we're going to have for breakfast.
That's
and then,
right,
well, what
yeah.
are you going to eat? You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
so in the time it takes to like make up all the rest of the pancakes, I can have a pan of those done in the oven.
Yeah. So pancake batter, butter, and then
Cinnamon sugar.
What's the ratio that you do the cinnamon, like half and half, or?
Yeah, I never paid attention. I just kind of put a little in the bowl, like,
Oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna try.
This sounds so good. I want to make
Yeah.
these too.
Mhm.
I might make them and put them in the kids' lunch because they would eat that at
Yeah.
any temperature. And I mean, it's not like a rock star lunch item, but it would be, the kids would love that. I know it.
Yeah.
I've tried other, like I put like mini chocolate chips in them one time and he ate them, but he didn't like them. He said, I just like the cinnamon.
Like a churro almost.
Ooh, yeah.
It's like those little cinnamon, he thinks they're like those little cinnamon coated Timbits at the Tim
Mm.
Hortons.
Ah,
That's
that
what
sounds
they're-
good.
Anyway, there you go. Little tip for you. This morning, my husband made pancakes. He did not make special Timbits.
And so they were not eaten by your son.
No, he just ate bacon and fruit. So that's okay.
That is such a good idea.
And fast. I like that too.
Yeah. Anything quick and easy. So that's kind of my theme this week.
Oh,
is
good
something quick and
segue.
easy. I'm honestly just piggybacking off of things that we've already done. One of the ingredients, I'm going to be using preserved lemons that Heather talked
Nice.
about earlier. I mean, I can't stop using them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I have used them in every recipe that I already make that already has lemons and salt in it. And so I'm going to be really creative and expand myself to a recipe I've never made before. And I'm going to use those lemons in it. So I'm going to make 1 skillet Greek lemon chicken and potatoes.
Yum.
We were talking about Greek lemon
Mhm.
potato salad or something, or potato.
No, just potatoes.
Just
Just
potatoes.
roasted. Yeah.
Because my phone is listening so well to me.
Yeah.
It came up with a suggestion on Instagram from the kitchen website that I follow. So it's the KITCHN. So I think both of you guys follow them too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It uses my preserved lemon that I'm obsessed with, and I've never made it before, and it cooks it all in a cast iron pan. And because I'm learning all of that right now, I think it will be a good addition to our recipe list.
Sounds yummy. I love Greek potatoes.
And this is what you told me, and I had never had them before. So I'm super looking forward to this.
Are you going to be cooking this on your stove or on the barbecue?
You know what? It goes into the oven. I'm probably just going to cook it in. It's a stovetop and then an oven thing. So you brown everything on the stove, put it all together, and then you roast it in the oven for a little bit longer until everything's cooked through, and then you're done.
So does it normally use fresh lemon, but you're just subbing?
Yeah. So this one has 1 medium lemon in it. You slice half of the lemon and just put it into the pan while everything's cooking. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to dice up the lemon we've already got preserved, and I'll omit the salt because there's definitely enough salt in the lemons to compensate for that. And yeah.
Sounds good.
It sounds like
really good.
A quick and easy way to cook up the legs and thighs that I get from chopping up chickens. It should be hopefully a winner with everyone, because the kids always love any sort of bone-in, skin-on chicken dish.
Yeah.
They hate the skin, but they take it off right away, but then they eat everything. And I often barbecue my bone-in chicken, and I feel like I'm kind of bored with some of the recipes I have. I don't know, I've done them a lot lately. I don't often do something else, so this will be a good something different to add into our meal list.
And 1 skillet,
and it's all in one, plus or minus. So I'll go through the recipe. You want to boil your potatoes in a pot of salted water separately from the pan that you're going to cook everything in, and then you heat up your cast iron pan and you pan fry all of your chicken skin side down until it's well browned and crisp. So then after you fried your chicken, you drain your potatoes, you add them to your skillet, and then you put your chicken back on top of it with your seasoning and your lemons, and you pop it into the oven and let it roast until it cooks through.
Yeah, that sounds simple and delicious. And
it sounds simple. It looks really yummy on their picture. Yeah, I think it's going to be a win. And then I'm also I picked up some kale at the store. I've got this recipe from cookieandkate.com, and it is strawberry kale salad with nutty granola croutons.
Oh, what are those?
Yeah, so instead of making a typical crouton, you make a granola type crouton. So you put together oats, nuts, and seeds, and some seasoning, an egg white, olive oil, and honey. And you make it like you make a granola in the oven, and then you break it up and add it into your salad as a crouton.
Oh, interesting.
I think it sounds really good. We've got some yummy strawberries right now. We've got this kale I've got. And the kids always like those fruity salads. They're more likely to eat a salad that has fruits. And I think they will like these croutons better than a bread crouton, because they can be kind of fussy about that. And I'm going to use the knowledge that I have acquired from Heather's granola making.
Press it down.
Press it down once it comes out of the oven. And hopefully I can make some granola croutons rather than just flakes of granola.
That does sound good.
It all sounds tasty. I don't think it's anything that's too big of a bite off. So I'm going for the easy. I'm making chicken and salad, guys. I'm really up in this. So
you can go easy after your mayonnaise debacle.
Yeah. I feel like this is a good one night meal.
Yeah.
I have a question about the granola. I have a hard time thinking of it as a crouton. I mean, isn't a crouton bread? Why would they call it a crouton? They should just call it like granola for your salad or salad topper or something. That's not my question. My question about the crouton in quotation marks, what did you say goes in the granola? Like, is it a savory granola? Is that what makes it a crouton? Or is it a sweet, like a typical sweet granola? Because both sound good. I just wondered what.
I would say it's a savory and sweet. It's got oats, it's got nuts, it's got seeds. Then you also put fennel seeds in it. It says cayenne pepper.
Oh.
And then you put an egg white, olive oil, and and a tablespoon of honey.
I'm thinking that that's going to be quite like spicy as opposed to sweet.
Yeah, I'll probably turn the cayenne pepper into something else. I might do like paprika with a little bit of chili flakes just so that my kids aren't like, oh, this is spicy.
It sounds interesting.
How much chili goes into it?
It's just a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper.
Oh, so it shouldn't really spice it up too much.
It might not. I'll
It
have
should
to,
be okay.
They've got a whole bunch of different nut suggestions in here and a whole bunch of different seed suggestions.
Oh, okay.
So you can kind of make it out of what you've got in your cupboard.
Right.
So I probably won't make it to what's here. I have to check and see, but I think I have walnuts and pecans. I've got sunflower seeds. I know I don't have sesame seeds, so I might put like pumpkin seeds in there.
You know that I have 2 kinds of sesame seeds in my pantry. So if you need to shop in my pantry, you just let me know what you need.
Oh, thank you. I'll be okay. I think I might, instead of the sesame seeds, I'll probably use hemp seeds.
You could throw in some mustard powder since you got it.
Good point.
Yeah.
You got
There
all
we
that
go.
mustard. So this dish is sounding similar flavor-wise to the chicken stew that I did with the lemon. So I think it's going to be really yummy.
I'm really excited to have this lemony flavor in the potatoes because the way that you talked about your vegetables in your stew, I need to experience.
I've been thinking about it and I totally want to make it again.
Yeah.
Because it was so good.
And the sad thing is this will use up the preserved lemons that I have in my fridge. Luckily, I have another jar on the go.
Yeah.
But this will use them up.
I think I was telling Erin, I don't know if you were in this conversation, Sarah, when I was talking about the lime that I put into my my preserved lemon jar.
How did that work out?
It's it's an odd thing because, well, okay, first of all, I had, I think, 1 small lemon left in the jar. So I had a lime in the fridge. I just quartered it and kind of shoved it in there and topped up with lemon juice because that's what I had. Right. So it's not truly preserved limes, which would be just lime, salt, and lime juice.
Right.
But it's almost hard to tell which is the lime and which is the lemon because it's lost its green color.
Oh.
And it's just a little, you can tell, but it's harder to tell. And I tasted it the other day and it is super sour. It is like, it's not like the lemon. It's not mellowed like the lemon. It's still kept it sour. So I was saying it is not older and wiser like the lemon. It must be the man because it has retained its sour.
Its youthful immaturity is still there.
Yes.
So now it's just salty and sour. It sounds like
I mean, it's still tasty. But it's way more sour.
Oh,
than the
interesting.
Lemon.
Interesting. Yeah.
I would like to try that with just limes. Did you do it with just limes, Sarah?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I didn't was because I forgot to buy the lime juice. I used the lime in my cooking, but I did make 2 massive jars of the preserved lemons, which I am also using for dinner today.
Ooh.
Oh.
Last night I made chicken souvlaki with them. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Yum.
Oh,
that sounds so good.
So freaking good. So good. All I did, I used half of a preserved lemon. I didn't add any of the salt. And so I diced it up pretty small, but not super small. Like I could have smashed it and mashed it in my mortar and I didn't. I just diced it up. And then it was the olive oil, the lemon, and oregano and garlic. 4 ingredients, marinated with the chicken for 2 hours, and then popped on the barbecue.
Yummy.
And did you have like a yogurt sauce to go with that or something? Like a tzatziki?
So then I had like the naan breads, the tzatziki sauce, the chicken, the feta, the cucumber, and the tomatoes. My husband was late coming home from work and the kids and I finished ours right away. And I saw the remaining stuff and I was like, oh God, I want to eat that all and just leave him out of dinner and be like, sorry, stop at A&W. But
we ate your dinner.
I mean, me and the kids, we all looked at each other we were all thinking the same thing. And but we saved it and instead I baked some bread for them and we had some dessert instead. But I could have made way more. It was so good.
These preserved lemons certainly have changed a lot of recipes for me as
Yeah.
well. So yeah.
And
it's good.
that's a good camping meal is the souvlaki, because I made it one time last year where I pre-skewered everything and then I popped it in a Ziploc bag, froze it, and then it came along camping with us.
You made that for us when we camped together a couple of years ago.
Oh, did I? Well, this time I'm going to make it with the preserved lemons, ladies.
Remember, we kept it like right over the fire, and then we put it in the nan.
That's right.
Totally.
That's
and
right.
because of that, now I always make that when we go camping because it's so easy. I just put salted lemons in a ranch dressing I made the other night.
Oh.
Then we dipped our chicken fingers in it the next day at lunch, and we had French fries that we were dipping in that ranch. Like everything's, it's so good. The lemons make it just such a weird difference.
I made lemon cupcakes. And then with the icing, I used the salted lemon juice.
Oh, wow.
In the icing of the cupcake. It was also spectacular. My husband's sick of and tired of hearing about these lemons, because every time I cook with them, I'm like, isn't this amazing? He's like, yeah, it's really good. I'm like, yeah, but it's amazing good.
We might have to rename the podcast 3 Sour Old Lemons. No, I'm just kidding. 3 Salty Lemons.
We are older, wiser lemons, ladies.
That's
wiser.
right. Well, I am looking forward to hearing how your chicken potatoes turns out. It sounds delicious. And these crouton.
Yeah, the croutons are very interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun salad to put on the side. The kale looked really good at the grocery store, so I picked it up without any sort of vision.
Do you marinate your kale before you eat it raw like that?
I'm a kale massager.
Yeah, like not really marinate, but I mean like work it with oils.
Yeah,
so that it's soft.
You have to massage your kale with salt and oil so that it breaks down the bitterness and makes it
more tender.
Yeah.
Kale massage.
I wasn't sure if maybe there was a method where you just let it marinate in like a salty water.
You can. I have done that.
Okay.
I have done that with but in a dressing, like a Greek dressing, and let it sit overnight, and it's much softer.
Oh, okay.
This has a lemon juice, Dijon, honey, olive oil dressing that goes with it. Maybe I'll make that ahead of time and just let them sit in it. This recipe does recommend massaging your kale with the salt before you start adding your dressing in your granola and your strawberries.
Yeah. So maybe do it in the morning and then let it sit.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try that and see how that turns out. Oh, and it's got lemons in it too.
The amazing lemons.
The amazing lemons. So I'm not really doing something that exciting, but I'm going to try a new one pot-ish kind of meal. Hopefully a good weeknight meal. That's something easy we can whip up, and I get another excuse to use my lemons. So
nice.
I'll let you know how amazing it is when I'm done.
All right.
Sounds
good luck.
Great.
Do you have a favorite pan that you like to cook in? Mine is currently stainless steel, but it might change as I learn this cast iron business. Come over to our Facebook page or Instagram at 3 Kitchens Podcast and share with us what your favorite is and why.
Welcome back. So Erin, how did your one pot chicken turn out? Was it as easy as you hoped?
It was easy. I would say it didn't turn out the greatest.
Oh,
no.
It was okay. It was supposed to be a quick and easy dinner, so the recipe's written to be fast and quick. I like spending more time cooking so that the flavors really get into the meat and get into the potatoes, where this was kind of a quick fry pan done. And
right.
So it wasn't as flavorful.
That's the issue when you do the quick, these ready in 30 minutes or whatever. It's great when you're pressed for time, but it's not as tasty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'd rather spend more time and make it tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, fast cooking on the chicken and potatoes was kind of disappointing. It didn't have as much lemony flavor as I wanted it to. So I would try a different recipe for this next time. Maybe marinate my chicken or something like that.
I was going to ask, maybe if you marinated the chicken, do you think it would have intensified the flavors? Yeah,
definitely. I really liked how the potatoes were cooked in the cast iron skillet though. So the potatoes were boiled until fork tender, I think they called them. And then you toss them into the skillet with sliced up garlic and oregano and just cooked them and browned them in there before you added the chicken back in. And the way that those turned out was super duper good. I really loved that. And I went out and bought a slightly bigger cast iron pan. And so I now have 2 cast iron pans.
Nice.
And I'm having lots of fun cooking in them.
Did it go in the oven? Like, did you brown the chicken and put it on the potatoes and then put it in the oven?
Yeah. So brown the chicken, then take it out of the pan. At the same time, you boil your potatoes. And then after your potatoes are cooked, you pop them into the pan with the garlic and the seasoning. You fry them up, and then you put the chicken back in on top of the potatoes, and you put it in your oven. It says for 8 to 10 minutes to cook the chicken through. So it cooked the chicken really fast. I would have liked to have some more moisture in the pan so that it was more like a braise.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
You know, I almost would have fried up those potatoes and then taken them out.
Yeah.
And then deglazed my pan, popped in my chicken, you know, cooked it for a little bit longer in the oven, and then added my potatoes at the end to just like heat them through again or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe keep the potatoes out so they're crispy, which is, you know, the good thing about them, and just have them on the side and have the chicken braised. You know, I
think I would have done that process different, but I wanted to stick to this recipe and what it suggested.
Yeah.
It used up the last of my preserved lemons. I now have to wait until Friday until my next batch is ready. Oh, the horror. But yeah, I liked all the flavors. You know, it was quick to make. It came together really fast. Yeah, within an hour, dinner was on the table and ready. So it was an easy recipe to follow.
So would you do it again with the modifications that you spoke of, or would you just try to look for something else?
I kind of trust myself just using the flavors and doing my own braise on it. But I mean, I might look up and see if there's a different recipe that somebody suggests something different. I guess it's also teaching me not to go for the done in 30 minutes kind of recipes.
Or just add a marinade.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking I should have marinated it with the salty lemon juice from the lemons and the oregano and the garlic, or even just stuff it under the skin.
Okay, well, now that you bring that up, do you marinate meat in lemon? Because I do not.
I do.
Okay.
When I make my chicken souvlaki, it's lemon juice.
Yeah, I guess I do have a couple of recipes that I do that with. Just a little bit of juice, though.
Well, are you worried about it being like breaking down the chicken?
Yeah, cooking the chicken.
Yeah. My chicken is always a little bit cooked on the outside, if you want to call it that. It, you know, it turns like that whitish kind of color if it sits in the acid for too long. If I do an overnight marinade on the souvlaki, it definitely does that.
Okay. I guess I have done that.
I would also say, because I used the preserved lemon, I would have liked, instead of just slicing it up and putting it on the chicken, which didn't really do a lot, I would smash it up and mix it in my mortar and then use that as more of a sauce rather than individual lemon slices on top.
Okay.
That's what I would have gone for.
I think it's better if you mince it. If you're going to chop it, get it into really little pieces so it can go through the recipe, as opposed to just kind of, you only get the taste of it when you hit a piece of it. You know what I mean?
We found ourselves kind of smashing it up on our plates after it cooked and like spreading it over top of the chicken. The chicken was just kind of plain and boring. It wasn't bad, but it was just kind of plain.
Right. I made a chicken stew with the preserved lemons, and I hadn't planned to use the preserved lemons in it, but I thought, oh, why not just throw a piece in? Yeah. So I did throw a piece in, and I forgot about it. And when I went to serve it up to the kids, my son came across the piece, and he was like, you know, being really good that day and eating everything on his plate. And then came to me and said, you know, Mom, you know, the food was good, but that one piece of, and he thought it was meat, like, I don't know if it was chicken or beef that I had made, said it's a little too sour for me. And I'm like, sour? Well, that's an interesting way of, you know, describing this dish. And then I went to see what he was talking about. And the poor guy had eaten the whole piece of lemon that I had thrown in.
Oh, yeah.
Just to be so polite, cute.
Right?
Oops, mistake.
I mean, I don't mind eating the whole piece of
I
lemon.
don't. No, I don't.
It's just refining his taste, Sarah. You've done him a favor.
Yes, I have.
But the salad that I made was a definite win.
Mm.
Really liked the salad. And so did my kids. My kids
Yay.
thought it was the greatest salad ever.
And was that because of the croutons, you think?
I think it was just everything tasted really
All
good
of
together.
It. Nice.
So it was a kale salad. So I chopped up my kale and took out the center vein.
Right.
I put in about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and massaged the kale.
Massaged the kale. I think it's so funny.
And then I put it into the fridge. So I did this in the morning, and then it sat in the fridge for most of the day with all that salt on it. So I think that helped. Well, it wasn't a lot of salt, but it helped really
break it down.
Yeah. And then there was a lemon mustard dressing that I made. It was olive oil, lemon juice, Dijon mustard, and then it recommended honey, but I used maple syrup instead because I currently have that creamed honey, not the liquid honey in my pantry.
Oh, okay.
And so I find it harder to scoop and mix that in.
Yeah.
And then these nutty granola, quote unquote, croutons.
Very curious about this.
Yeah.
So it was a cup of oats. I did 1/2 cup of walnuts and 1/2 cup of pecans, 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds, a 1/4 cup of hemp seeds, a 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds, tablespoon of fennel seeds, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I did a 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder and cinnamon, an egg white, olive oil, and again, I used maple syrup instead of honey. Mixed it all together, popped it in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes, I think. And it browned nicely on the edges. I didn't really have to press it together too much once it came out of the oven. It crumbled into fairly nice pieces, and it added a really like creamy richness to the salad because of all the seeds and nuts in there. They were so
interesting.
It made a whole bunch. So I have a couple little jars to share with
Yay.
you guys, and you can add it to your salads and see what you think. I really loved it. It was a really yummy texture. The salad was eaten up really fast, and the kids loved it.
I'm so curious about the croutons because of when you said fennel, especially. I'm like, fennel? How does fennel come into this?
Do you like licorice fennel-y flavor? I
use fennel in my cooking, but I do not like black licorice, but I've had amazing fennel salads depending on what you pair it with. I've had a fennel salad with green apple.
Oh, you mean like a chopped fennel root?
Yes.
Okay.
But I use fennel seeds in my cooking a lot for Indian cooking. But no, I don't like black licorice at all. I don't like that taste.
Interesting.
I'm not a fan of fennel personally. Or what's the other one that tastes kind of like licorice?
Anise.
Anise,
right?
Yeah.
Not really a fan. When you said fennel, I was like, ooh, no, I'm not sure. But I imagine it's different when it's all together.
That's right. Yeah, I think fennel really changes.
You kind of get that pop of flavor because it's the whole seed too. So you crunch down and it's all of a sudden like a little pop of fennel taste. I really like fennel, so I don't know.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I make fennel tea. My German grandmother got me addicted to that. And now anytime we go out anywhere that has fennel tea, we pick up 2 boxes and deliver one to each other. So that's kind of our go-to that we share with each other. My kids really like fennel. My kids like fennel tea as well. The salad was a win. I will definitely make more salads like that.
Oh, okay.
The strawberry kale salad was from cookieandkate.com.
Nice.
It wasn't super complicated. It was easy to make. I definitely want to make more salads and stuff over the summer, and especially as our kale starts growing. So because I've struggled with it at times because I don't use a recipe or I don't use measuring tools. And then I'm like, oh, this is too acidy or, oh, this is too salty. So now I feel like I have a better handle on how to make a better kale salad. So that's been good.
There's different types of kale too. Like they're not all quite so
chewy.
That one that we're used to with the crinkly edge. Now I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's a bit tougher, right? And there's some that are more like a lettuce, like a really soft leaf. So I mean, if you're going to grow it and you've got the seeds and you're growing it, then you're going to eat what you're growing. But
we've grown the more rigid, meaty, because it does really good in our spring here.
I know it does.
It's really hardy, I guess. I've always really loved what we grow out of our garden, but I've never felt 100% confident in how to work with it. So I feel way better now. And I think that I'll improvise more dressings and stuff. Like I didn't really realize that salt before you add the dressing was the important step. So again, a little bit of research goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely make this chicken with these flavors again, and frying those potatoes. I'll make potatoes like that any night now. Easy, 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 easy. So good.
And just put more lemon.
And I had some potatoes left over, and I made a soup a couple days later, and I just chopped up those pre-cooked potatoes and added them into the soup right at the end. And they were so full of garlic, and they were so delicious. And everyone had really offensive breath for the rest of the night.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, good. And hey, we're all quarantined anyway. So
yeah,
we might as well just all.
You know, Erin, I should share my recipe of the potato salad with you because it's a winner.
Yes.
And it uses the preserved lemons.
Yay.
So
on the weekend, I didn't want to do a whole big turkey. So I did a turkey breast.
Ooh.
I just chopped up a yam and threw in some butternut squash that I had in the freezer and some oil. Like I kind of tossed it with some oil and thyme and oregano and the last of my preserved lime. It was actually the lime that was in the jar.
Right. Your youthful lime.
My youthful, it's a bit more sour, definitely more tangy. So it was about a half a lime and some of the salt, and mixed that in with the vegetables, and then did the turkey on top.
Ooh.
And it was so tasty. And my husband was like, this is so good. And the next day for leftovers, he's like, I don't even need to eat the turkey. I just want to eat those yams. We had like a little fight about who got to eat the yams and the squash, because the lemon with the squash, like a root vegetable. So good.
So good. Okay. That's good to know.
And yam too, but the butternut squash with the lemons, just so good. I don't know.
Wow.
That was a great discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great discovery.
You did it, Heather.
So proud of myself.
You did it.
Yes. Thank you.
All credit goes to Heather. Well, if you're looking for an easy, quick dinner, or you've got a whole bunch of kale growing in your garden and you don't know what to do with it, check out these recipes. Summer's on its way.
Definitely be doing that this summer with the kale.
Yeah.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you.
All right. Well, until next time. See you later.
Bye.
And now for the fine print. You can find pictures and recipe links on Instagram and Facebook at 3 Kitchens Podcast. Feel free to leave us a comment or a suggestion for future episodes. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you like and subscribe, that helps more people find us.
The potatoes are okay and the rest is great.